At the beginning, a few people were taking a girl after holding her. Her name was Mora, and she was a doctor. Mora woke up, and we learned that she was having a dream. The surprising thing was that whatever she had seen in her dream, tied, similarly, in her real life, she had the marks on her hands. Later, Mora sees a newspaper nearby, in which the news of a missing ship was written. It has been missing for 4 months while missing. Neither till today, anything was known about the ship nor the people aboard it. Mora finds a letter there that was her brother's, in which it was written to meet him in New York. Here we come to know that Mora was going to her brother who was on the ship. As she comes out of the room, everyone was talking about the missing ship. Some of them say that it has been sunk, and the others say it has vanished somewhere, and a few of them say that it has been swallowed by an evil power. Mora was also listening to everyone while sitting on the ship. During the conversation, a boy comes saying, "If any doctor is there, please come with me. My sister is quite ill." Meanwhile, a few guards come and take this boy. Actually, this boy comes from the other part of the ship where poor people live. It was forbidden for them to come to this part where all rich people live. Mora follows that boy and tells him that I'm a doctor. She cures his sister and saved her life. Actually, she was pregnant. Meanwhile, her younger sister comes to Mora, and thanks to her that she has saved her sister's life. "I also wanted to become a doctor when I grow up, just like you." On this ship, we see a couple who was fighting. Actually, the husband of that girl was having fits, and Say doesn't want to live with her husband. When Mora was at the part of the ship where all poor people were, she begins to suffocate and goes out. The ship's captain tells her, "Don't you know it is quite forbidden to come here?" She says, "I don't know." "And who made this cheap rule? That we can't help the poor people?" Then 2 guards come and tell them they need to take this ship to another side immediately. On the same ship, we see 2 brothers. When they see the ship turning back, they become worried. They think that the ship is returning, and no one wants to return. Later, Mora goes to the captain who was drinking. Mora asks, "Has the missing ship found?" And he says, "No." "Yes, we know something about the ship, and the same missing ship could be Prometheus' ship. It has been 4 months missing that ship, and we don't know whether the passengers are alive or died." The captain asks, "Do you have any relatives on that ship, Mora?" She says, "No," and then the captain gathers all the passengers, and tells them that I've come to know about a ship. It has sent us a message for help. It can be the missing ship of this company, Prometheus. So, we're going to it for helping that ship." Hearing this, all of them get angry, because they want to reach America on time. When Mora and the captain were talking while standing on the rooftop, they see a ship far across, and they think it could be Prometheus' ship. They all become afraid to see it. The captain sends news to the company that Prometheus' ship is found. Later, he talks to the other people and says that we've to go there. The other captain says, "No, there can be a danger for us to go there." Mora tells them that I'm also coming with you. There might be someone who is ill and needs treatment, and I'm a doctor. They all were ready to go on that ship. Meanwhile, a man says that the sea is calm and the breeze is stopped. There is something fishy. He was afraid and rejects to go there. Captain takes someone else in his place with him. They reach the ship, and after there, they find no one there, and the control room of the ship was broken. They become afraid and think that if this is broken, then who has sent signals and sent us messages for help? Meanwhile, we see a man climbing on the ship while swimming. There, the captain and his fellows have reached a cabinet while chasing an insect. Someone was knocking at it loudly. Mora opens that cabinet. From a child comes out. They all become shocked to see it. Everyone begins to ask questions from him. "How you are alive? Where are the other people? And who has locked you here?" He wasn't answering them and shows them an object just like the pyramid. They all return to their ship after taking the child back. Meanwhile, a man comes to the captain and tells him, "There is a message from the company. If you find Prometheus' ship, sink it. Later, when the captain goes to the control room, all the compasses have stopped working there. Everyone on the ship was quite worried and they were thinking, where all the passengers on Prometheus have gone? How the child has survived on the ship for 4 months? They all were lost in these thoughts and wanted to return from this ship. When Mora was in her room, she sees the same pyramid that the child has given to her. She doesn't understand anything and keeps it back after seeing it. She asks the child, "How you were alive there? Please, tell me where the other people are." The child doesn't reply to her and gives her the pyramid. Mora goes out and she sees the same strange man, whom we saw that has come on the ship. She asks, "Who are you?" And he says, "I live in the next room." Mora says that she has never seen him. The man tells his name, Daniel, and goes. The captain comes to Mora and asks, "Has the child told you about anything?" She says, "He hasn't told anything yet." Later, we see the same man who was fighting with his wife. He was standing with a Japanese girl on the ship and was talking to her. Meanwhile, her mom comes and takes her with her. Later, a girl comes to him and tells him, "I think you're not well. Can I help you?" Then we see the captain. He sees his daughter on the ship and comes to a room while chasing her. He sees his wife and daughters there who were waiting for him. Suddenly fire catches there, and the captain falls away. He sees the same insect that they saw on Prometheus' ship. He sees a stair on which he climbs and reaches his room. When he goes again to check, there was nothing but walls on all sides. When Mora was talking to that child, she sees a mark on his neck. When she begins to touch that mark, the child holds her hands and tells her to keep quiet and goes from there. Meanwhile, the captain comes there who was yelling at the boy and asks, "Who are you, from where you come, and what happened to that ship?" Mora brings the captain out and asks him, "What are you doing?" The captain says, "There is something wrong on the ship. I saw my daughter, who has died." And hearing this, Daniel also comes. The captain has gone from there, and then we see a man there, who has come on the ship without the ticket and the guard was chasing him. Now, the guard has captured him, and the captain gathers all the passengers and tells them that we've to take Prometheus' ship back to Europe, because we don't have enough coal, that we can take Prometheus' ship to America. Hearing this, they all become worried because no one wants to go back. When the captain was on the rooftop, Mora comes and tells him, "Are you crazy that you've taken such a decision?" The captain says, "There is surely something wrong. The company is hiding something and wants to sink Prometheus' ship." Later, we see a girl who sees the same insect, and she reaches far away while following it. Daniel comes there and puts the insect into his pocket. Why he did this, and we'll know later what was the reason for this. The next moment, a man comes to the captain who has taken him to the cabin, where he shows him the same dead girl. She was the sister of the same man we saw at the start of the film, who came to call a doctor for saving the life of his sister. Then Mora and the doctor try to find out what happened to the child and how did she die. They don't know about anything, and the captain forbids everyone that no one will tell anyone about the death of this girl. Later, they see that their ship was stopped. When the captain goes to check, it was fog everywhere, and a lot of smoke. The way wasn't visible, and their compass has also stopped working. The captain tells everyone that we can't go ahead till we can see the way in front of us, and the captain takes Mora with him, and shows her a ribbon that he found from Prometheus' ship, and it belongs to my daughter. My daughter and wife died because of burning in the fire. Mora tells him that you've gone crazy, that's why talking like this. Nothing is like this, and the captain shows her a path, and says that he has never seen such a path ever. Although, I know about each corner of the ship, there is something wrong with Prometheus. You've to come with me again and we have to find out how that child is alive on the ship. There the family of the dead child was quite worried and was finding her everywhere. The captain was again ready to go on Prometheus' ship. Everyone was explaining to him not to go there. They can be dangerous, but he doesn't listen to anyone, and leaves for that ship after taking Mora. On the ship, the guard tells the family of the girl that she has died. Her sister brings her dead body to her area. When her brother sees the dead body of his younger sister, he becomes furious. He breaks the ship's windows in anger. The guard comes out and sees many people have died there. The captain was also finding things with Mora on Prometheus' ship. They see the same secret door on that ground as well, as he saw in his room. When Mora goes to check, she finds nothing there. The small child was under the bed while taking that pyramid. Daniel comes there and asks, "Have you found that?" The child nodded his head at this. It means Daniel and the boy already knew each other, but the relationship they have isn't revealed to us yet in the story. There the captain and Mora were checking the burner. They thought that the people here might have died by burning. During this time, the captain finds a list of the passengers. He hides that from Mora and keeps it with him. The guard goes to everyone on the ship and tells them that our people are dying. We have to do something and distribute guns among them all. He says we've to sail this ship, and a captain comes to the captain and tells him that everyone is getting rebellious, and we've to sail this ship immediately. Before the captain could do anything, a few people come there and imprison him. Suddenly their ship vanished and they'd come somewhere else. The guard brought the man with him who had come on the ship without the ticket, and asks him to throw all the dead bodies into the water. Later, he comes into the control room and tells that Prometheus' ship has vanished. They tell him that not Prometheus but their own ship has vanished. "We don't know where we have come." The man tells him that we've come to the same place again, from we'd started 3 months ago, and then the poor people who had guns. They attack the rich people and ask, "What is this happening? Why our people are dying?" A man comes and says that they've received a message from the company, who asked us to sink Prometheus' ship, but since this child has come on our ship, everyone is dying, and the mother of that girl who died says, "This boy is a curse and he has to die." All the passengers have become ready to kill the boy. The man tries to escape, who was throwing the dead bodies into the water. The guards shoot at him, and a bullet hits his arm. On the other side, the captain was also released. All the passengers who wanted to kill the child go to Mora and asks her to tell us about where that child is and give him to us. When they search for him in Mora's room, they find him nowhere. They go after locking Mora in that room. She hears a voice under the bed, and she finds the same secret door there, as she saw in the captain's room. When she opens it, the child was hidden there. We see Daniel, who was there from the ship was being sailed. He was trying to solve a pattern by connecting a device. We can see that all the passengers were in search of that child. They were checking each of the rooms, and the captain has come from a window after being released. Mora, who was locked with that boy, tries to open the lock but it can't be opened. Later, the boy sends that insect that has opened the door. Both of them have come out and come to the captain. Meanwhile, the guard and the other passengers come and say they need this child, nothing else, and when the captain stops them, the guard shoots at him. They take the child with them and take the child to the rooftop. The mom of the girl who died says, "This boy is a curse. This is all because of him. I've lost my daughter. He is collecting our souls, and don't have pity on him by his innocent face. Throw him into the water." And later, the captain and some people come. They begin to beat everyone, and in order to save the child, everyone begins to fight. During this time, the daughter's mom throws the boy into the water. Seeing this, Mora gets panicked. The rain begins to start and they've killed that child. When they come down, the captain asks Mora, "What is the truth? Tell me something. I found the list of passengers from Prometheus' ship. In this, your name is also included. Who are you?" A light emerges from there, and the boy who was thrown into the water. He comes out as he came from Prometheus' ship. This time, he hugs Mora. All the passengers were shocked to see him. No one understands what was going on there. At first, they want to know about the boy, but now they want to know about Mora. Who was she and how her name was included in the passengers list of Prometheus' ship? We see the past life of Mora where she has worn the dress of mental asylum. She was captured, and she said to a man, "I know what you've done with Prometheus' ship and its passengers." This was the scene we saw at the start of the film. A few people captured her and make her sit on a chair. They inject into her neck, and she fainted. When she restores her senses, she finds herself on the ship, where all the passengers have locked the boy into that cabinet. When Mora goes forward to save that child, a passenger shoots at her. Daniel comes to save her, and everything was stopped there. Mora has brought that child out now. When Mora asks what happened, he doesn't tell her and takes her with him. But after that, everything has been fine. The captain holds Daniel and asks what is going on. I've seen you talking to Mora. Are you involved with each other? And the girl asks him to calm down. Whose sister was died but the time was stopped there. They hear the tickling of the clock loudly, and they all were hypnotized. In a while, all the passengers start to jump into the water. Seeing this all, Mora again asks the boy, "What is this going on?" The child writes on a piece of paper saying keep quiet and gives her, "Someone is hearing us." The child comes to Mora and whispers, "I can tell what is going on. If you want to know, you've to meet the creator." Who this creator was, we'll know later. There, many passengers were giving their lives while jumping into the sea. Now, the child leaves that insects, and chases it, and Mora also goes after him. She reaches the place where the people from the asylum have caught her. When Daniel comes to Mora's room, he sees the same secret way. From its path, Mora goes after that child. After opening it with the remote, he also goes inside. When Daniel meets that boy, he tells him that they're watching us. "I'm assured that soon we'll find the truth." Daniel tells that boy to stay there. "If you come to the ship, they'll kill you after finding you." On the ship, all the passengers were tying them. Because they were jumping from the ship after being hypnotized, Daniel goes to the control room of the ship and fixes it. Meanwhile, a man attacks him. After pressing the remote that Daniel has, he faints a man. Mora was in the asylum and she goes into the room, whose number was 1011. She was there on the ship and the same room. It seemed like everything is interrelated. Later, she sees an old man and asks him, "Where is my brother?" But a few people hold her and inject her. Later, Mora wakes up in the ship and the captain holds her there. He asks her, "Who are you, and what is this, which is happening to us on the ship?" Mora tells the captain that she is the daughter of the ship's owner. Her dad has manufactured these ships for experiments. "I received the letter from my brother 4 months ago, who wants to meet me but we can't meet. He has to tell me about the secret of Prometheus' ship. Whatever we're seeing here is an imaginary world. You can call it a fake world. We've stuck in a world from which it is impossible to get out." Later, she sees an insect and holds it, and they follow it. They've reached the forest, their imaginary world. There the captain sees his house and thinks about how it came here. We see the ship's officer in the ship. He has the same remote that Daniel had. After a while, the captain and Mora come to the ship. Both were quite worried and Mora tells the captain, "I was a doctor of a mental asylum, but my memory was removed. I even don't remember that I was on the Prometheus ship." He shows her a letter and tells her, "I was the captain of the Prometheus ship." He also didn't know how he was the captain of the ship. Daniel has fixed everything on the ship with his remote. All the passengers have now stopped jumping from the ship. All the rescued passengers come to the rooftop where the ship's officer came. He says, "We've been instructed to drown this ship." Daniel comes and tells everyone, "Not Prometheus' ship, but this one. The people of the company want to destroy this ship." We see the same old man that Mora has also seen. A man comes to him and tells him that they've received a message from the ship. He says, "I know it is soon to be destroyed, sunk." The man asks to bring that child who was on the ship. Later, he puts the curtain of his room aside. We see a pyramid far away, and on the ship, everything was changing. There the black rubber-like things were emerging from the roof. The captain and Mora again reach the asylum. Mora tells the captain that my dad has built this asylum in commemoration of my mom. Because she was forgetting things slowly, my dad wanted my mom to be cured, and he wanted to read her mind. After going ahead, they open a window and sees a corner of a ship. Everyone was watching their past lives on the ship. The officer of the ship locks himself in the same cabinet where the child was locked. A sharp light was emerging from it. In the asylum, Mora tells the captain that the child has told her that someone has kept an eye on us, and if we want to know the truth, then we've to reach the creator. On the ship, the sister of the dead girl could also see her past life. She becomes afraid to see it. The ship again starts again. When they check its manual, only one thing was written on it. Before the truth about the ship reveals to them, the influence of coffee will be started on them. It was like a riddle. The ship's officer has come to that old man, which means he was with him. The old man says, "You've to bring that child to me." because he has a pyramid and all the people on the ship will be lost after getting into their imaginary world. The ship will be ruined. When Mora was with the captain in the asylum, she sees the black things emerging from the ground. When she tries to touch them, Daniel comes and holds her, and says, "Do you know me? Do you remember anything?" When the captain stops him, he sends him into another world with that remote, where he has seen his daughters burning. But Mora doesn't believe in Daniel's words and locks him in a room. After coming out, when she throws the gun with her hands, she feels a wall there. She understands that everything is present in the ship. The captain has now come on the ship, where he sees many things similar ships there. We learn about the past life of Mora and Daniel. Actually, she was Daniel's wife. When Daniel comes out of his imaginary world, he asks about his remote. Mora doesn't tell him about anything, and when she comes to the ship, she sees a big storm is about to hit there. There, the ship's officer opens a device after coming into a room, and tries to find the child and the captain. Mora goes into Daniel's room by a secret way, and reaches a room, where she sees pictures. It means Daniel was her husband, and the small boy was her son. Daniel has also found his son after going into another world. His son gives her a ring and says, "Now she will awake," and Daniel comes to Mora. He tells her that this boy is our son, and whatever you're seeing, this is just an imaginary world. Later, the sirens begin to ring on the ship. Now, the old man who was seeing the time, in which 21 minutes were left. It means this imaginary world will be ended within 21 minutes. Daniel brings Mora to the ship and tells her that there are 21 minutes and then the imaginary world will be ended, and after that, it will be ended, but we can solve it with the help of a code that only you know. Mora doesn't know anything that what is the code. She gives Daniel a key after bringing it out from her locket. She says maybe this key can open the code. After going to a room, he begins to fix the device. He says, "Mora, if this all becomes fine, still, the round will restart of this fake world, and this has happened to me many times. That's why no ship could reach its destination. Because of the storm, everything on the ship was breaking, and people were dying because of being stuck in it. Because of the storm, water begins to enter on the ship, and people were dying while sinking into the water. The officer comes to the old man while taking that child. The old man talks to Daniel and Mora. He says if you want to save your child, then you've to give this key to me, which you have, and Daniel agrees to this all. He was ready, and the old man has the same pyramid. He opens it and there was a keyhole in it, in which the key could be fixed, and there were only 10 seconds in the timer. The ship was about to vanish and was heading to the same place, where all the ships have vanished, the graveyard of the ship. Ship was standing with all the ship that have been vanished yet. All the passengers were on the ship and were thinking, what is going with them? And the captain has come on the ship again. He asks Mora, why is this happening to us? No one is able to know the secret behind it. Mora tells everyone that my dad has made this ship for experiments. Whatever you're seeing and feeling is a fake world, nothing else. She says my memory was erased. I've only one key, and if we get out of here, I'll surely try to memorize it. On the other side, the old man takes Mora's son to another room. Here it is, I've only one key, and if we get out of here, I'll surely try to memorize it. On the other side, the old man takes Mora's son to another room. Here it is revealed that the old man was no one else but Mora's dad. He tells him about a theory. He says some people keep on missing their past things while trapped on the ship. Your mom wanted to know about this thing, and after understanding this, her life was spoiled. According to the theory, the life in which you are, isn't your real life, but a fake and imaginary world. All humans are being controlled by someone, as we are controlled by God. We are all toys for him, and the world is just a dollhouse for you, that your mom has made, and she has its keys. On the ship, it is shown that all the passengers have gone to their past lives, but return on the ship after a while. Mora again goes to the asylum with the captain, where the ship's officer comes and asks her for the keys. Later, after pressing a button from the remote, he faints the captain, and takes Mora with him. Mora meets her dad there and he takes the keys from her. The room converts into an asylum. Her dad tells her that you've created this world, and you are the creator of it. Mora says, no, I've not made it, but later she was made fainted. As his father puts this key into the pyramid, she couldn't wake up in the real world because Daniel has changed its stimulation. He has changed the round of this fake world. Later, Mora restores her senses and Daniel was in front of her. He has a ring in his hand, and she asks Daniel, "Am I in the real world? Is everything real?" He says no, this is the world that we've created. Nothing is made up of the pyramid your dad had. He shows her a new pyramid, whose code was inside Mora's ring. Daniel tells Mora, "Your brother is controlling this all, no one else. Your dad is also stuck in this world, just we are. Mora, before your brother could know about this all, you've to wake up in the real world." Mora puts her ring into that pyramid, and she wakes up in the real world. She sees, along with her, everyone is having a machine on their head. When Mora sees outside, she sees a spaceship. She receives a message there. In this, she was informed that it is a Prometheus project. It has the same number of passengers as it was on the ship. She sees the present date written, in which her brother tells her, "Hello sister, you're welcome into the real world." Along with this scene, the first season of 1899.